Yeah. As we were discussing yesterday, we are starting with the module 5, that is resonating circuits. Fine. Now, this resonating circuit is module 5, and in module 5 you have another topic which is the two-port networks. Okay, since the resonating circuits are something that we can cover comfortably. Okay, online we have taken this resonating circuit first. Fine. Now,
Uncle, auntie.
I request
Auntie,
you people to switch off your microphones. Okay. Now, in resonating circuits, we have two types. Okay. Yesterday also I've explained you that we have two types. One is the series resonant circuit. Another one is the parallel resonating circuit. Okay. We can call them resonating or resonant or resonance. Resonance is a condition. Circuits we can call as resonating circuits or resonant circuits. Understand that? So what I mean is this. See here. So if you come here, we can call them as resonant circuit or resonating circuit. We can call them anything. Fine. Now, series and parallel circuits are there in your syllabus. We'll be covering series resonance circuit. Fine. And yesterday we discussed about the networks. Okay. When we say it's the networks, we have several networks wherein we can connect people using the social networking sites. That's social networking or network of people. Okay. Similarly, we have network of computers, internet, we can call them. Okay. Now here, the networks that we are seeing is the network of the electrical components. Fine. Which are the electrical components that we know? We know resistor is a electrical component here. I'm pointing that here. Resistor is an electrical component. Inductor is an electrical component. Capacitor is an electrical component. Okay. And this resonating circuit is something which has to have this L or C or both. Get this point? A circuit only with resistance R without L and C cannot resonate. First thing that you should understand. Okay, I repeat, a resonating circuit is one which will have either the inductor or the capacitor or both inductor and capacitor along with R. If there is only R as the circuit component, it cannot be a resonating circuit. Understand? Now, why it has to be called series resonance circuit? I hope everybody understand this three components R, L and C are connected in series. Everybody understand that? Since they are connected in series, this is called as series resonance circuit. Now, to this series combination of RLC, okay, what we are doing, what is that we've applied here? What is this? This is a voltage source. Everybody understand that? This is a voltage source. Yesterday I was asking you, okay, we have two types of voltage sources. How can we denote that? See here. One voltage source would look like this. Another voltage source would look like this. What is the difference? Anybody, if you can unmute yourself and tell me, what is the difference between the voltage source that I have written here and the voltage source that I have written here? Can anybody unmute yourself and tell me what is the difference? Nobody?
AC source and AC source.
Yes? AC source and DC source. Who is that? Who answered? Tell your name, man.
Pratik Shetty, sir.
Rakshit, Pratik. Okay, good, Pratik. You're correct. This plus and minus what we are seeing here, This is a DC voltage source and this is a AC voltage source. What is AC? AC is alternating. See here, we have written a wave. Okay, we have written a sine wave. We have written a sinusoidal wave. What is a sinusoidal wave? Sinusoidal wave is an alternating wave. Why we call them as alternating? Because see here, the sinusoidal wave goes to the positive maximum, comes back, crosses the zero voltage and goes to the negative maximum and keeps alternating between the positive max and the negative max. That's why it is called as alternating current wave. Understand that? That's why this is the first is called as DC and the second one is called as AC. Okay, the wave that you see here, okay, will make it AC. Now you should understand with that introduction to the voltage source, different voltage sources or sources, DC source and AC source, we should understand that the resonating circuits that we see here, okay, work only with the AC circuits. Because this resonant circuit, I'm not talked about the application, I'll be talking about that now shortly. Okay, you should understand this resonating circuit is a frequency selective circuit. You can select a particular frequency where you want your output. Where do you come across such application? It's a frequency selective circuit. Can anybody think where can we come across an application where we select a particular frequency? Anybody? Where do you come across such application? In electronics, where we try selecting a particular frequency for some purpose. So this radio receivers, you know, right? In radio receivers, what do we do in radio receiver? We tuned the radio receiver to a particular station. Okay, when we tune it to a particular station, what I mean is we are trying to select the frequency of that particular radio station. Understand that? So we are trying to select the frequency of that. So in radio receivers, we come across such resonating circuits. Even in television receivers, TV receivers, we come across such frequency selections. Because in cable TV, we have frequency selection circuits, right? Okay, the different channels come with different frequencies. So there also these resonating circuits are used. Okay, since it's a frequency selective circuit, we cannot have a DC voltage source. In DC voltage source, what is the frequency? The frequency is 0. Okay, but in AC, you have the frequencies which are present there, different frequencies. Understand that? So the AC voltage is what you need to be applying to this resonating circuit, because this resonating circuit finds an application in frequency selective circuits. Okay, now soon after we connect this AC source to this series RLC, we cannot say that this circuit resonates. Understand? Listen to me carefully. When I connect this RLC in series and apply a voltage which is AC voltage source, okay, the circuit will not resonate. What is resonating condition? When do you think the circuit would resonate? The circuit would resonate, we say the circuit would resonate when a maximum current flows through this circuit. We say the circuit would resonate when this current I is maximum. Fine. When would that happen? When would the circuit would resonate? We need to check now. When would the current be maximum? So that we can get our circuit in resonating condition. Everyone understand that? So that is what we are trying to see in the next discussion. Fine. See here. When a series RLC circuit would resonate is the question that we are answering. Fine. Now, to understand that, we need to know the reactances and resistances and something called as impedance. You see this? This is impedance. What is an impedance? Impedance is resistance plus reactance of the circuit. Which component will have resistance here? The resistor will have resistance. Okay with that? Which components will offer the reactance? the inductor and capacitor will offer the reactance. That is also the resistance to the current flow only. But it is called as the reactive part. Fine. L and C are called as reactive parts. They offer some reactance. Okay. So the reactance that the L is offering can be denoted as XL, and the reactance that the C is offering can be denoted as XC. Why the impedance is written as R plus XL plus XC? Because these components are connected in series, and you must be knowing if there is a series circuit like this. Let me write. If you have three resistors in series, okay, R1, R2 and R3. Suppose you have two terminals here. What is the resistance across the terminals AB, we can ask. Get that point? What is RAB? What is RAB? Anybody? Can you give me the input? What is the resistance across the terminals AB? I'm telling you all the three resistors are connected in series. Okay, so they are, since they are connected in series, it's R1 plus R2 plus R3. Fine. Now, when they are connected in parallel, it's a different equation, different equivalent resistance will get across AB. Fine. So you can have any number of such resistances in series. You can just add them all. You will get the equivalent resistance across the terminals AB. That is what is happening here also. It's not the resistance all over. Okay. So you have you have a resistor, you have the inductor. Okay. You have the inductor and you have the capacitor. The capacitor and inductor are connected in series. So along with the resistance of the resistor, we need to consider the reactance of L and C also. Everybody understand that? We need to consider the reactance of the inductor and capacitor also. That is why the impedance is written like this. Everybody understand that part? See here? That's why the impedance is written like this, where this R is the resistance of the circuit. Fine. Now, what is this? This is reactance of L. This is reactance of C. Understand that point now? Okay. Now we shall see when would this circuit resonate. That is what we are interested in. Fine. When would this circuit resonate? So that we are answering by considering the impedance Z. Okay. And impedance Z is given by this. Now let's understand one more thing. What is reactance of the inductor given by? We have said XL is the reactance of L. Okay, this is reactance of C. Now, if let's see, we know that. What do we know? What do we know? Our XL is equal to the reactance of the inductor. The reactance of the inductor is given by here J omega L. Okay, so it's an reactive part. This is a imaginary part. This is a complex entity. That's why the J comes. Resistance is the pure resistive. This is not real. This is a real entity. Real. What is real and imaginary? I'm talking about here. If you have a complex number, it is of the form A plus JB. This is called as real part, and this is called as imaginary part. Okay, so you should understand the resistance always is real, and the reactances that we are writing, they're all imagined, they're all complex entities. That's why the XL, the reactance of L, is given by J omega L. Fine. Now what is omega here? What is omega? Omega is, see here, omega is given by 2 pi f. What is omega? Omega is frequency. This is also frequency. This is, what is the frequency difference here? This is frequency in radians per second. This is frequency in hertz. This is called as, omega is called as angular frequency. Angular frequency. And f is called as frequency in hertz. This is in radians per second. Understand that point? Now. So how can write my j omega L? I can write my j omega L as j 2 pi f into L. Okay. What does this imply? What does this imply? This implies that our XL is directly proportional to the frequency. Everybody understand this? This is very important point. Why XL is directly proportional to F? Because if I keep increasing F, that increase in F would also increase the reactance of the inductor. That's why we say XL is directly proportional to F. See, this is one result that we obtained. Everybody is okay with this? We are trying to answer this question. What is that question? When a series RLC circuit would resonate. When would that resonate? To explain that, we have considered the impedance, and in impedance we are considering the reactance part now, because impedance is resistance plus the reactance part. Similarly, if you take, suppose we have to write the reactive part of the capacitor. Okay, can anybody tell me, do you remember or have you seen this, the reactance of the capacitor anywhere? Anybody can answer that? Anybody can unmute yourself and answer that question. I've given you the reactance of the inductor. Can you give me the reactance of the capacitor? Nobody? Shreya, yes, tell me Shreya. Be louder a bit. It is
1 by j omega.
1 by j omega c. Okay, yeah, good Shreya. Now that's right. XL is j omega L, whereas XC is 1 by j omega c. Understand? And as we saw earlier, okay, omega is 2 pi f, so you'll have j 2 pi f into c. What does this imply now? This implies that our XC is inversely proportional to the frequency. Everybody understand that? The reactance of the inductor is directly proportional to F. The reactance of capacitor is inversely proportional to F. What I mean by saying that is XL would increase as F increases, and here XC would decrease as F increases. Everybody understand that point? Okay, so there are the variations with frequency. That means variations. Therefore, variation of XL and XC is given by what it can be given by. So we shall draw some graph now. Okay, what graph we are trying to draw here? We are first, let's have XL, the reactive part of the inductor, and versus F. So since XL is directly proportional to F, since XL is directly proportional to F, as you can see here, okay, as you can see here, XL is directly proportional to F, XC is inversely proportional to F. Now, since it is XL is directly proportional, as the frequency increases here, as the frequency increases in this particular direction, okay, XL would also increase linearly. It's a linear increase. Everybody understand why it is linear. You can give some frequency and you can try plot that. You'll understand why it is. Where we are trying to plot the magnitude. Understand that. Fine. Now, similarly, we shall plot the graph for XC. Okay. Let's take the y-axis as XC and how XC would vary as I increase my F. Now see here, XC is inversely proportional to F. Understand that? That's why it has to decrease with increase in frequency. This XC has to decrease with increase in frequency. But see how it decreases? It decreases exponentially. Everybody understand this part? Okay, XL increases linearly, whereas XC decreases exponentially. Fine. Why that will not get into that. If you go plot that sketch for different frequencies, okay, you'll understand. Fine. Now still you should understand the purpose of doing all this. What is the purpose? The purpose is to see when a series resonant circuit, RLC circuit would resonate. Fine. So when would that resonate? Is this. See here? Now, if you try plot both the graphs or the same plane. What I mean is you have XL and XC being plot here for varying F. Okay. As we saw, XL is increasing and XC is decreasing. So this is XC, this is XL. Fine. Now, what's happening? What's happening? You see this point? This is the point of interest to us now. This is the point of interest. Okay. At this particular frequency, say the frequency is F naught. Yet F is equal to F naught. Can you tell me what is the value of XC and XL? Can you just compare what is XC and XL? What is XC and XL? They are intersecting. They are intersecting. See, X is coming down. Okay, X is coming down, whereas XL is going up. But at some point, okay, both XC and XL will intersect. That means the value of XC and the value of XL would become equal at F is equal to F naught. Okay, so this is where I call the circuit is resonating. So this is called as resonating frequency. Understand that? What is resonating frequency? Resonating frequency is the frequency at which you have the value of XC and XL equal at this point. Okay, this is the point I'm talking about. Everybody is okay with that? So when do you think the circuit would resonate now? The circuit would resonate when the reactive part of the capacitor is equal to the reactance part of XL, or when both the capacitive reactance and inductive reactance are equal, we can say the circuit would resonate, and the frequency at which they become equal is called as resonating frequency. Understand this point? Okay. Now one more thing that you have to see. When they are intersecting, okay, one reactance is decreasing, the other reactance is increasing. Remember this. Okay, this I'll be talking about. This I'll be talking about in the next session. Why? What is the importance here? How do we need to see them? Okay, the magnitude and direction comes into picture here. The magnitude is same, okay, but the phase is different. Why would the phase would differ? The phase would differ because X is decreasing and XL is increasing, mind you. Okay, that's why we say the magnitude is same, but they're opposite in phase at f is equal to f naught. But at f is equal to f naught, since the magnitude is same, we call that as resonating condition. What is going to happen in resonating condition then? What is going to happen in resonating condition? Okay, what is this resonant frequency? Let's see here. Now let's understand resonant frequency. We shall just try see this in more detail. Okay, now since this is resonating frequency we are looking at, so again let's consider Z. Okay, and as I have told you earlier, this Z is given by X R plus XL plus XC, since they're all in series. Fine. So what is this XL given by? It is given by J omega L, and the reactance part of the capacitor is given by 1 by J omega C. Fine. Now further what we can do here, see, since there is J, anyways this J is in the numerator, let's write it as it is, but this J is in the denominator. Let's take this J to the numerator. When J is taken to the numerator, the J would become minus J. Okay, and let's keep this 1 by omega C as it is. Fine, let's go further now we can in second and third part, what we can do, we can take J common. So what would happen? How does it look like? R plus J. Okay, now what is that we get after taking J out is this. Fine. Now what is this? This is actually your impedance. This is actually your impedance. Okay. Now when omega is omega naught, so only 10 minutes left now. Okay. So we are going according to our plan. No problems. Okay. So we are going little slow because these are initial classes we need to understand. So when omega is omega naught, or we can also say when f is f naught. You can talk in any way. You can say when omega is omega naught. Let me write that. When omega is omega naught, okay, or we can say when f is f naught. What would happen to this? See here, Z would look like R plus J, okay, omega naught L minus 1 by omega naught C. Why do you have to take omega naught L and omega naught C? Why we are not happy with omega and omega here? Why we wanted omega equal to omega naught? Because we are talking about resonant frequency. What is resonant frequency? This is F or omega. This is F naught or omega naught. What is omega naught? Omega naught is 2 pi F naught. Okay, so you can talk in terms of the angular frequency omega, or even you can talk in terms of the frequency in hertz, that is F. Fine. So since we are interested in seeing what is resonant frequency, okay, we are trying to see this particular equation at omega equal to omega naught. So we need to look at this frequency, not the frequency F. Fine. That's why this is considered. Everybody is okay with that? Now, what is that we are seeing? This is XL part, this is XC part. Omega naught L, okay, is the reactance of the magnitude of the reactance of the capacitor, sorry, inductor, and this is the reactance of the capacitor. Fine. Okay, you can start giving your attendance now. Okay, and just look at this. I'll be doing this. So you should understand when omega naught is omega naught, when omega is omega naught, what's happening? What's happening? XL and XC are same. They are equal here. So since XL and XC are same at omega naught equal to omega, omega equal to omega naught, we can say at omega equal to omega naught L is equal to 1 by omega naught C. Understand that? Now, when that happens, what would happen to this part? This part would become 0. Understand that? Implies omega naught L minus 1 by omega naught C would be 0. That is what is the meaning of it. Fine. We can say these two are same. You can say these two are same. Okay. Or also you can say omega naught L minus 1 by omega naught is equal to 0. Fine. So what would happen if it is so? You have omega naught L equal to 1 by omega naught C. Fine. And if you take omega onto the left hand side, yeah, it would become omega naught square, and you're left with 1 by L C. So what would this happen? This would happen as omega naught equal to 1 by root LC. Understand this? Now, since omega naught is 2 pi f naught, implies f naught is 1 by 2 pi times root LC. See, this is your equation for resonant frequency. I hope you are making note of all this. Okay, so what did we see today? We saw how the reactances would vary. Okay, and how to get the resonating frequency equation that we have seen today. Fine. See, now if somebody asks you, when do you think the series RLC circuit would resonate? What would you answer? When do you think the series resonant circuit would vary? Series resonant circuit would resonate. When do you think the series RLC circuit, let's say, when do you think series RLC circuit would resonate? What is the answer? The series RLC circuit would resonate when the capacitive reactance is equal to inductive reactance. That is at F equal to F naught. The series RLC circuit would resonate at F equal to F naught. Okay, and at F equal to F naught, XL is XC. There is another way of telling it. Okay, now this is the hint. This equation is the hint. Can you tell me how can I say the circuit is resonating now? Seeing this equation, when do you think the circuit would resonate? We said when this is equal to this, the circuit would resonate. Okay. Now there is another way of making a statement. At when the circuit is resonating, what is another condition? One condition is when the circuit is resonating, the capacitive reactance is equal to inductive reactance. What is another statement that we can make from this particular equation? Anybody? You want to make you want to try for that? Just consider this equation for the impedance. Okay, how can you make another statement there? Can we make a statement keeping the resistance in mind? Anybody want to give a try for that? One statement we can make is when the capacitive reactance is equal to the inductive reactance, the circuit would resonate. In another word, keeping resistance in consideration, okay, what statement we can make? Anybody? Give it a try. What is another statement? This equation is the reference for you. This equation for Z is a reference for you.
When impedance is equal to resistance.
Lovely. Nikita, right? Yes. See here, there is another
Yes,
way of
sir.
looking at it. Good. See here, when we say these two are equal, these two equal part are being subtracted, so this would become 0. This reactive part would become, so what is left out here? The impedance is equal to the resistance, only that is left out. Okay, so another way of making the statement is when the impedance is purely resistive with no reactive part, with no imaginary part, we can say the circuit resonate. Okay, so just let's just summarize that. Okay, now here, therefore the circuit would resonate when, first one, when XL is equal to XC, or you can say when omega L, omega L, why J is not considered? We're just considering the magnitude. When omega L is equal to 1 by omega C. This is one condition. What is the second condition when the circuit resonates? The impedance of the series RLC circuit would become purely resistive. Understand that? So this is what is important. So we have seen the conditions at which the circuit resonates, and we have obtained the equation for the resonant frequency. Understand this? Okay. In the next class, we'll be seeing some more parameters. The parameter that we have seen today is the resonant frequency. Understand? The next parameter that we'll be seeing is something called as selectivity, bandwidth, sensitivity. Understand? So we shall have more discussions on that in the next session. Okay. Except on Saturday, I have a class on every other day. Okay. So we can plan something on Saturday also. Okay. We shall see as the days go by. Fine. So as of now, this is how the things have been planned. Fine. So if you have anything to ask, you can go on, or you can leave your questions in chat window. I'll be referring to that and I'll be answering that in the next session.